Some 60 years ago, a man by the name of Angelo settled into Atlantic City and started a small business cutting hair. At the time, Atlantic City was just beginning to thrive as a monopoly, and it was a perfect time for businesses to open. Some 60 years later, Angelo's is still a living tradition that remains one of the last barber shops of its kind. Today, that shop is owned and operated by a team of barbers that keep alive the art of cutting hair with a slice of the old-fashioned style barbershop. With this new team of barbers having no relation to Angelo, they all agreed to preserve the name of the shop strictly for its tradition. Atlantic City today is a city that lives with a diversity of cultures, including Italians, Latinos, Afro-Americans, Greeks, and Jews, which Angelo's in turn, from this class of citizens, draws its customers. The living tradition of Angelo's is so rich in history that today it draws some of the most famous people that visit Atlantic City into its barbershop for a fresh cut. Angelo's barbers perform their art in a neoclassical building at the corner of Atlantic Avenue and Gordon Alley. Paul and Joe are two of the barbers who provide their talent and cut hair at Angelo's barbershop, keeping alive the art of the barber for the classical man who still wishes to feel that tradition that used to be mainstream when they were kids. In the documentary that follows, Paul and Joe reveal to the public how they broke into the business of becoming a barber.
I got my story, Joe probably has his. My father-in-law was a barber. And I'm from Pennsylvania. I didn't always live here in New Jersey. And I was in the garment industry, and I worked there after high school. I went in the garment industry for 10 years of my life, wasted. The only way you made any money, you became a cutter. Well, somebody had to die to become a cutter. So what I mean was 10 years of my life wasted, and I had a minimum job there, laying down material. So now I married my wife, and like I say, her father was a barber, and he always wanted me, please, Paul, learn. He gave me a clipper. See, he was a barber himself. He was a barber in the Hotel Shelburne. It was in them days when Atlantic City was Atlantic City. So anyway, I had three boys. And they were small, so I started practicing on them. Then I had cousins. They started liking it, and then I said, geez, this ain't bad. I think I won't mind doing it. So I went to barber school. I was already, like I told you, I wasn't a baby. I was almost, no, that's right, I was almost 30 years old. And I went to a barber school back home at night and worked during the day in my other job. That was the garment industry. So my father-in-law got me interested. I became a barber. And Angelo, who owned this shop, you never knew him, did you? The old man, Angelo. He said, hey, kid, do you want to work for me? I didn't even I only went to barber school for 3 months. See, in Pennsylvania, at that time, you could learn to be a barber. No, that wasn't Pennsylvania. That was New Jersey. You can learn to be a barber in the shop. So Angelo took me out. I went to barber school for only 3 months. He put me in a barber shop, and see, I was 30 years old. Most barbers learn like Joe learned when he was 16. You're a kid, but I'm 30 already, married. And he told me, put your apprentice license, hide it. And people didn't know, and I'm not afraid to talk, as you know, Percules, and I faked everybody out. Here I'm an apprentice learning on the people's hair, and they didn't even know. And I'll tell you why. Because hair was starting to get long at that time, and it was just trims. That's what it really was. It was so easy, but like if I had to learn like it is now with tapering, it would have been very hard. But anyways, did it. And the only thing you suffered was the first couple months, and that's how I became a barber. Then after working, I've never worked for anybody else but Angelo's barbershop. Now Joe, he can tell you a different story. Don't forget, Joe, and by the way, I'm a barber 34 years. Joe's a barber
60 years.
60 years cutting hair, so Joe can tell you some
I started when I was 16 years old. I was still going to school. Well, I wasn't born here. I was born in Italy. I came here when I was 13 years old. The second time. First time I was 6. I went back with my mother. And it came to Ellis Island. My mother, they detained her. She had TB.
Oh.
So I had well, anyhow, she finally came here, and within about 8 months, she wanted to go back to Italy because her mother was there, her sister was there, and I went back with her. So and then she died, and my grandmother died, and I stayed with my aunt, and I was about 12, 13 years old. I came here by myself, on a boat, by myself. They put me in a boat, and I came. It was tough. So then I stayed with my stepmother. I had a stepmother. My mother died. one stepmother. Then my father remarried. She died. And I had two stepmothers. In the meantime, when I was 16, my father sent me to barber school.
He said, I want to get you
out of the street this year.
Get you off the streets. And
Yeah,
you went to barber school.
Yeah, I went to barber school. I was 16 years old. I was still going to school.
Where did you live at the time?
In Philadelphia.
Philadelphia?
Yeah.
Always in Philadelphia?
Yeah. A nice name, West Oak Lane, Philadelphia. It's a
What was
nice
the name
Jewish
of it?
neighborhood.
The barber school, what was the name of it?
The name of the barber, that's what you want to ask me. Tri-City Barber School. That school was in my old neighborhood. No, it's in my old neighborhood. No, I went downtown.
But tell him, see, I'm going to intervene.
Yeah.
Joe's father had a high-class shop like Angelo's. So guess what? This is interesting. I didn't do this. He was farmed out. His father wouldn't let
4
him
years
come
I
right
was
in.
from different barber shops. In Kensington and many
I'm
others.
working his shop
Yeah.
until he learned.
Couldn't work.
So when he went to barber school, that's interesting.
Because
Because
the
his
custom
father...
knew me as a kid, you know.
So anyway, he was farmed out to the, like local barber shop, one-chair shops. He worked there, and then go ahead, Joe. And then your father died. Tell him the whole story. You'll be
Well, I went. Then I got, for 1941, I got drafted in the service,
That's right.
and I went to North Africa. It's just, Bizerti. I don't know how long I was there, but I was overseas for 38 months, 28 months. Then went to Italy, Sicily, and Italy. Then war was over. We went to South America. I stayed there for a few, and when it was over in the Pacific, I was in South America, in Brazil. Then we came home. It was the end of the war.
And then you went to work with your father some more until he
Yeah, and
died.
then I went back to my father. But then he passed away, and I got my own shop. I had 4 different shops there in the city. In West Oak Lane, in Mount Airy, in Chestnut Hill. Beautiful, great neighborhoods. Then.
And then you came here, but no, tell him why. The truth. Why you got out of it. You got upset over
Oh,
it.
yeah, and then
Barber.
I sold my shop to one of my employees because they were making me nervous.
A lot of barbers in Philly said they were driving them nuts. They were starting to get, they're getting cocky, trying to write their own orders. They're not coming in,
I had
it's
a
a lot
nice
of
shop.
responsibility. So that's why he came down here, and then tell him how he came to me for a job. No, he came to Angelo.
Angelo.
Oh, man. Remember, you came to Angelo, is the one that hired you
Yeah, Angelo.
when I had the
That's right.
shop.
How did you find out about Angelo's?
My wife, he had an ad in the paper. Angelo. He had an
I
ad.
probably put it in.
Yeah.
Probably put it in.
That's when, what's the name, was leaving? John Miller.
John, okay, right.
And saw that in the paper, and she called up. That's how it is. That's how it came here.
Oh, that's how. And then she
Yeah.
called up, and then when you come in,
No, she didn't call up. She wrote a letter.
Should
yeah, you came over to the other
Yeah,
shop,
that's
right?
right.
And you come in.
Next to the Jockey Club.
Oh,
See, I
right.
took my basic training in Miami Beach from Philadelphia. And from there, I went to radio school in Chicago. But anyhow, and my friends in Chicago want me to cut their hair. But then they wouldn't, see, payday. There's only 50
That's
cents a haircut.
right.
Someday.
Yeah.
Never got.
Yeah,
Besides,
never
hell with
got
that.
paid. The hell with that.
I don't do it.
The only thing he got a good deal, his officer, he used to give him a haircut and a shave, and the guy treated him real nice. So he was
Oh, yeah.
commanding
No, I
officer.
didn't give him a shave, just a haircut.
Oh, just a haircut.
No.
He was, but he found out you were a barber. And
Yeah,
he did
well,
tell him.
my record it says I was a barber, so I don't have no tools. So about a day later, he got me a toolkit. And
His officer, sure. He
yeah,
had
it
his
was
own
a-
private barber, so
it was a
Joe had a
captain.
good, and he treated Joe very good because
we
of
were in
that.
a B-17 outfit then, and he moved out, and I went with him. C-47 cargo plane,
Imagine, yeah.
Otherwise, I'd have been.
That's right. That's true. Second World War goes to show you about barbering. See, you got a good deal because of that.
Since 1926, when Angelo's opened up, the principal barber Angelo and his associates worked hard together to create a good reputation for the services they provided by cutting hair. Throughout the years, Angelo's barbershop has established a long-standing tradition that to this day, through his descendants, Paul and Joe and the rest of the staff, still lives on.
This shop was over there. Angelo's the same name, because I would never change the name, because even though my name is Paul, it's not Angelo's, but I'd be foolish to change the name. In fact, I paid. You guys go to college. There's a thing in a statement, in a business statement. What is it called? You're paying for the name. I had to pay for this name, so you don't think I'm going to put Paul. Everybody knew Angelo's.
Sure.
And the whole is a popular shop. 9 out of 10 barbers are Italian. And Joe, why is that? See, maybe that's
We
what
will
you
not-
meant.
yeah, we will not-
I don't know why that is. Majority of barbers are Italian. And I don't
Some
know why
Irish
that
and
is.
Jewish, you know.
Yeah, but not as many, Joe. Tell the truth. Don't
No.
you think there's more Italian barbers? I thought
Oh,
in
yeah.
Atlantic City there were. There were some Jews. You're right, Sam. There was that other guy.
Irish.
Not too many. Not too many Irish. Oh, John Malin.
Really, and a couple other guys I know.
Who was the other guy?
I'm pulled up, Dennis.
Yeah, but most are Italians.
Yeah, for some reason, and I don't know why, they all became Italian. We're the barbers. Angelo, here's what Angelo would do. He would let you give you a try, and he'd look at you, and he wouldn't take any. You'd work a couple days before he would give you an answer. That's the only way you could know. That's why he's trying to ask. He
Yeah,
said, how do you
tell
know
me.
a guy is good? But usually, if a guy said, I'm a barber 30 years, well, by 20 years, geez, if he has to be a half-decent barber. But Joe said, he says, no, you don't have to. I figure, most barbers are good. Joe said, not really. If he's lousy when he's learning, he's going to be lousy when he's 80.
Most barbers are bad.
The establishment of Angelo's barbershop throughout the years has attracted people from all walks of life, from the common man to professional athletes and big screen actors.
I never worked for anybody other than Angelo for 34 years. I became his manager, and then I was the owner of the shop.
To become the owner. And Angelo's was one of
It
the
was
very
well
old.
known. It was
Yeah,
a
yeah,
well-known
very well-known.
shop. It really is, son. In fact, we still get it. The mayor of Atlantic City in here. We get the chief of police in here. We get 9, I think, out of the 12 Superior Court judges come in here. And then we do regular guys like Percules, and we do some Puerto Ricans, and we do get very little black. But this is a nice shop. Yeah, it's always had a good name. I mean, you can't brag. We're all the way from the mayor to everybody that's anybody comes in Angelo's. The majority of Angelo's customers, believe it or not, were like Joe's, were Jewish. All the businessmen were from Atlantic City, the Jewish trade. Percules, how did you happen to come in here in the barber shop? Somebody sent you here, didn't they?
I had a roommate from Argentina.
Oh, that's right,
Oh,
that
yeah, I
nice
remember
guy. Yes, we did.
Sergio, yeah.
Yeah, they
And he was at Stockton, and
Yeah.
we lived together at the time. And I was looking for, because when I came from Greece, I had a very good barber back there.
that's right. you
So
loved
I
it,
was
huh?
going around, I was going to the mall, and I was trying to get a good haircut,
Yeah,
but I couldn't get one.
That's right.
So my friend told me, why don't we go to Angelo's?
Right.
And they're almost, I know the people. And
Yeah.
that's how it came. And ever since, I haven't stopped
Yeah.
coming.
I know.
It's been 3 years now.
The approach of the 21st century brings changes. The old-fashioned style barbershops, like Angelo's, will experience the changing of the guards as modern beauty shops and saloons take center stage.
Let me tell you, I'll end with this. You just don't realize this. This is interesting. I told you how I became a barber. I learned with Angelo you were allowed to do that. But now, since then, in the state of New Jersey, this is not Pennsylvania, you must go to beauty school
Not
if you want to be a
barber school
barber.
anymore.
There's no such thing as a barber because they combined. They made it one. There's no such thing as the barbers anymore. You're under the hairstyle, which is the beauticians, and that sort of screwed things up. So that's why you're not getting as many men in the barber business anymore because of that reason. In other words, a male, he don't want to go with the girls because he don't want to feel, like they just don't seem right. But that's the only way now you can become a barber. So go to beauty school and then you break off and you don't get too many more like yourself. How many barber shops do you know, Percules? Not too many, do you?
No.
So beauty shops, we're one of the few. There's another thing I could tell you. I'm very proud of that. This is one of the last traditional men
That's
type
what
of
I'm
shop.
working.
You notice? There's no women coming in. Well, no, Joe does some women. He does they like a man's type of haircut. Well, Bob, right, he's a barber, which is rare, right? We were lucky to get him, and he had to go break his thumb. To get a young barber. And
Who could
like
tell
I
20
say,
years
who
from
could
now?
tell? No, I know
Right.
what he's trying to say.
I know.
He's
I'm saying,
right.
like-
It's very hard because there's nobody barbers.
There's no
Right.
future in this
They ain't gonna
business.
sell it to a beauty shop, and they won't want
Right.
this. They
Because-
want with the dryers and all. That's very good. It's a shame.
Because I was
And probably this will be the last of the Mohegans.
That's it.
Honest to God, this is probably, and this is a hell of an interview. You always hold on to this because you're right. You're not going to get a barbershop like this anymore once we're gone. In
Right.
fact, we have a lot of, like, big shots. The mayor, they're dying. Paul, please don't. But I'm going to be, I told you, didn't I, 65 in March, and I don't want to work full time. But see, I don't want to quit anyway, so you'll be happy for a little while. But that's the truth.
60 years have come and gone for Angelo's barbershop, and still the tradition remains. Through all the years and all the different people, Angelo's name has become a symbol of quality and excellence. However, the changing times has brought with it a bitter wind for barbershops like Angelo's, for on the horizon lies a new era. In this new era, barbershops like Angelo's do not exist, for beauty salons will become the mainstay in everyday life. But the generation left behind after this new dawn will never forget the day when you could walk down Atlantic Avenue and see the tradition of the famous Angelo's barbershop with all its magic and all its glory.